Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to finish up this week's theme of dissonance, looking at a song with an interesting title. The band is called Little Women, and the song is called Throat 5, and it has that name because it's just the fifth track off of the album called Throat. So that's kind of interesting. They didn't name their tracks, they're just album track number through the entire track. So let's dig into this and see what's going on. Interesting how the guitars, the metronome in this section are not the drums. The drums are providing their own dissonance. That is an interesting texture there. It's live. Whatever they're doing is with their embouchure to create that, I would assume. Because there's a lot of variance in it. It's not being done with a mute of some sort. I don't think it's done in post-production. Or in the production, I should say. Almost sounds like they're trilling their tongues while they're playing. A lot of really strong dynamic work in this track. But even here we have the very dissonant drones going on way in the backgrounds. It does sound like a train though. I never realized I wonder if there are pitches for train whistles, and if they are dissonant. As soon as the drummer got a groove, they're like, "Oh, we can't have that in here. Change it up." Almost sounds like the guitar is detuned a little bit, or it's possible it's using microtones as well. All right. So, I feel like boredom's all over again with Circle, but done so with an emphasis on dissonance rather than just, well, actually, yeah, there's actually some really cool comparisons between this and Boredom's with Circle. Both of these feel very disjointed. There's moments that definitely give me that sort of, warm up vibe, a group just warming up. But unlike Boredom's, this one has more structure to it. And it's interesting how they can diverge on what I would say is a very core aspect. I don't think I would have necessarily made a connection between this and Boredoms if I had not listened to them in the same week, but practically back to back here, um, as back to back as this channel can get. Um, yeah, it's weird how my mind is in the same. I'm in the same mental area with both of these tracks, despite the fact that they're doing things rather different. In fact, they're kind of the opposite in a lot of sections. Whereas Boredom's was highly disjointed, but fairly harmonious. This one is highly dissonant, but fairly structured. And yet they're still putting me in that same idea of, why was this created? What is it trying to do? What is it trying to tell? What is the artistic intent? And why does it sound like people warming up together? So I think that's kind of interesting. I like when music can be very different but elicit similar vibes. I think that's a wild thing art can do. Um so yeah, let's get into this. We have a jazz band here. I'm pretty sure it's jazz. We have definitely a flute, a saxophone of some kind, a trumpet, I believe, and drums. And I think that's it. The structure of the song is linear, but extremely precise. We have several sections where all of the band members are playing the exact same rhythm with a lot of space between notes. So there's a lot of precision in the rhythmic component. However, there is a perceived lack of precision in the harmonic element. it almost seems as if these notes are selected randomly. I don't believe that. I believe every single one of these chords are hand picked. Every note is purposefully selected to achieve maximum tension and dissonance. Because none of these really gave off any hints of harmony. There was no accidental moments of, oh snap, I'm actually a fifth above you. How'd that happen? We got some really perfect harmonies going on right here. So, with that in mind, like I said, I believe that every one of these dissonant chords are hand selected for maximum efficiency, sorry, for maximum effectiveness of hitting that specific texture of dissonance. Now, the interesting thing is that the song has dynamic work, which I would not have expected in something like this. But the more I talk through this, the more I'm realizing that everything about this song is expertly crafted in a very traditional light, aside from the note choices. That changes my thoughts on it a little bit. I've already put this off into like some avant-garde jazz corner. I'm trying not to say anything too negative about the things that don't traditionally work, because I firmly believe they are designed to push against and create friction with the status quo of music composition. However, when I think about this single aspect, it seems more like an exercise than anything else. What if we wrote a regular song and all of our chords were tense? What if none of them had any harmony? What would that sound like? Well, let's go make it. It doesn't. I mean, that's the idea, the concept that I'm getting from this one. Now, granted, there's like 7 more songs on this album, and I don't know what kind of, I don't know how wide their discography is. There's a very real chance that this is just what they do. They always write this style of music, and that wasn't necessarily what prompted them to create this specific song. But that's the vibes I get from it. I could see myself writing something similar, given myself the same prompt, either as an exercise to just try something new, or maybe I'm kind of stuck in a rut or hit, writer's block, and I just need something to get something on the page, so I do something wild and abstract like this. But like I said, it's very possible this is just their style. This is just a Tuesday for Little Women. So, but I like how that exercise type vibe is present to me. It's sort of a reminder that even though I view something esoteric like this as an exercise, something to do outside of my normal writing, that there are people who view that as their normal writing. That is the song to them. It's not something to, get past writer's block or just to try something new. This is what they do. And I think it's always good to be reminded of that. That there's a lot of ways to write music, and there's no rules to it. Now, going back to the dynamics, I said that there's some structure in the dynamic work. It's really interesting to me that we jump between these two ideas, basically. We have the highly rhythmic, lots of stingers, chordal stingers, and loud, excited moments. And then we have these very muted atmospheric sections with dissonant drones. And we move back and forth between these. We do the repetition once. We start out loud, then we go to the atmosphere, then we come back to being loud, then we do the atmosphere, and the song's over. But yeah, it's that little reminder again that this, to me, this is an exercise, but to them, this is their songwriting. There is nothing in here that tells me that this is an exercise in the song structure, in the song dynamics, in the rhythmic ideas, any of it. The only reason that I have this in mind is because of the dissonant aspect. And it just reminds me that dissonance is not something to avoid. It's I love having those little reminders. Um, Now I do want to talk about technique because I think I'm done with the music. There really isn't a lot of musical aspects for me to talk about here. It's a very sparse piece, and I think the core aspect of it is really the tension and dissonance, and the musicianship. These sounds they're producing are very unique. If they had just gone into this and they're like, let's play an E and F and an F sharp all together, and it's going to make people cringe. Haha, this is great. I don't think it would have the same effect as what they ended up doing, which was using these odd ways of playing these instruments. I mentioned at one point that I thought the trumpeter was trilling their tongue while buzzing their lips to produce this sound. And yeah, that's just. It's the only way I could think to produce it. And the interesting thing is, I mentioned that there's a very human component to that warble that they added. I think I heard it in the saxophone as well, but I'm not sure if it would work if you could do the tongue trill while playing a saxophone. But that's because I can't get a sound out of any reeded instrument, so I really don't know what's possible on a saxophone. I can't even make it make sound, so I'm the wrong candidate to be talking about that. But the trumpet, yeah, I got a few years of trumpet playing under my belt. Let's dig into this. So the trumpet or any brass instrument with a round mouthpiece, you sort of buzz your lips to create the sound. It's like a and you take that sound and put it into the mouthpiece, and the mouthpiece bounces around the metal and stuff, and it grows in volume and whatever happens. I'm actually not sure about the physics behind how brass instruments work, but anyways, I think I can kind of troll my tongue while, and when I say troll my tongue, it's like the like the Wookiee kind of thing. Doing that while buzzing it's not easy. I just tried it, but I did get some interruptions in the buzzing, and I wonder if that sound is what would be produced, what they were making, if that's how they did it. The interesting thing is though is that there's a lot of human variance in the sound that's created. Sometimes that warble didn't exist; it was just a flat note for a moment, and maybe that was a time when they had to stop trilling their tongue, or something happened. Maybe the trill got too slow and they had to speed it up. Whatever. And it was these moments of faster warbles, slower warbles, no warbles, just kind of moving in and out. Something that would be very very difficult to do by, well, not difficult, tedious, I should probably say, to do by hand in production. So I it really has my mind reeling. How would I go about making these sounds? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of them were human made. They weren't added in production. But then the other side, once again, I'm presented with this idea that the way that I do things is not the only way to do things. And it's such a good reminder. Um, I kind of wish I had gone on this tangent with boredoms as well, about appreciating the avant garde side of music, but honestly, I was just a bit flabbergasted. I'm more prepared this time, having been dumbfounded once this week already. I'm more prepared for another wild, out there song. But it's I've said this many times. I want to reiterate one final time. There's just something very important to me to be reminded that there's other ways to do things. There's other ways to write music. There's other ways to compose music. There's other ways to record music. There's other ways to create sound with the instrument. I've played trumpet for uh, over 15 years now. And of those 15 years, I've pretty much played it the same way from start to finish. Refining my embouchure, getting better tone out of it, but not really changing up what I'm doing. And it's that little reminder like, hey, there's other ways to do it. You should explore them. You have been, artificially restraining, artificially restraining your creativity by not exploring these different things. So, yeah, I don't know that I have much else to say about this song, but I'm glad I heard it, even though I would probably not revisit it. Um, I'm not a super huge fan of the dissonance, but I like how it was paired with some song structure, which gives it sort of this free avant-garde element to it while still utilizing some framework of composition theory that retains listenable elements or more palatable elements to a more casual listener, I suppose. It it's interesting. Interesting in a way I would not want to revisit it, but it does intrigue me, and like I said, it reminds me that I should step outside of my comfort zone, not just in my listening, as I tend to do daily on this channel with Dissonance Week, but also step outside my comfort zone with my creativity and how I make music. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Little Women's Throat 5. This is where you guys come in. Though, hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not, any sort of background or context information you have about it. I'm sure there's some stuff that I might have missed. There might be an entire genre of this type of jazz that has just gone under my radar, which I'm sure is entirely possible. If you have any information like that, I'm always up to be educated or informed as well. I definitely view a lot of this channel as a two-way conversation. I tell you guys what I'm hearing, but I'm also missing a lot of context to things, and I usually get informed about some stuff as well. So it's always a good opportunity for everybody to learn some stuff. Above the comment section, there's a description box, and there's a link for Linktree, which is a fantastic resource. Takes you to everything related to the channel. You ever want to follow me on Twitter? Join the Discord community. Support me through Patreon. Email me about anything. Check out special selections. Submit your own special selections. All sorts of stuff. You want to watch blocked videos? Ooh, the infamous blocked videos. Yeah, the links are in there too. I mean, Linktree just has it all. Head in there and see what you find. It's like a treasure trove of critical reactions stuff. Above that, like, subscribe, ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three. We got one more video coming out in 6.5 minutes. After that, I'll be back on Monday. We'll be starting Math Rock Week. I knew the theme for once. Wow. We'll be starting Math Rock Week, and we'll be exploring some special selections and whatnot. We have the next video coming up is going to be a sound from my inbox. We're going to be looking at a song from a band who has reached out to me, wants me to check out their stuff. All right, until next time, remember, be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.